What is up, guys? This is a what you need to know for OSCP video. In this one, I'll be covering NFS. That is the network file system. Now, typically you do see this on a Linux server, although you do not have to. In fact, in this example, this is a Windows box. This is remote from Hack the Box, in case you were wondering. But typically, I think the reason for that really is typically instead of using a network file system for a Windows box, they would just do it over SMB. But, you know, the same way that SMB can be found on a Windows box or a Linux technically, the same is true for NFS as well. Just wanted to point that out there. So basically what you look for is when you run an Nmap scan, if you see port 2049, that typically is going to be used for NFS. So basically what is NFS, right? Like, let's just cover that for starters. So NFS is, like the name implies, a network file system. So, just as I have my file system here, right? My Linux file system, I can actually mount this and make it accessible to the entire network, right? Or anyone on my network. Typically in a real world setting, you'll see this kind of in a corporate environment for certain shares that they want to be accessible to, other users in the company. It's typically something that would be internal. So typically this wouldn't be anything that's exposed to the outside internet. It would be within an intranet. But basically, if I wanted to make any of these folders, any of these file systems accessible through the network, I could do that by running a simple mount command. And I'm not going to cover that one in this video. I'm going to cover more the attacker side of when you find a server that is running NFS, because this is what you're going to need to know for OSCP, right? As the name implies. How to basically garner information from that, how to take advantage of that, right? So the first command that is noteworthy here is the show mount command. And what that's going to do is allow us to see all of the mount points, right? Because I said we can mount anything on our server, right? So anything could be mounted here, anything on the underlying operating system. So let's see what they have accessible and what we can actually grab from this. So that would be the first step, is just run show mount, run it with the -E flag. That will look at the exports, which are the exported file systems exported to be accessible through the network, and then the IP address. So in this case, this server only has one export, and that is /site_backups. And now here in parentheses, this is also a pretty noteworthy thing. It says everyone. And what that means is anyone on the network can mount this share and access the data within it. Now, if there was an IP address in here, that would mean that only that IP address would have access to mounting the share. And so that is really the next step in this process, is once you identify a share that, or an export, I should say, that you want to actually go through and, see what's on it and interact with it, right? Well, the first thing you're going to need to do is mount that. So I'll cover that command up next here. And so let's just go ahead and do that now, right? So in order to do that, all we would need to do is say mount. And it's important we have to do this as the root account. I am root right now, but just another thing to point out here. And we need the -T flag and to specify NFS, and then the IP address followed by a colon, and then the export name. Remember, in this case, it was site_backups. And then over here is whatever we want to call the mount. So we'll call this mount point, just for the sake of example here. And so, yeah, one thing we might need to do is create that ahead of time. So if we make dir mnt mount point, mnt mount point, and then try to rerun that. What we're just going to do is attempt to mount that to /mount/mount point. So if we go there, when we do a listing of the directory, we'll see all of the files and folders that were that were actually on that other server under site_backups. So that allows us to interface with this. So basically, another important thing to note is any file that I create on here or any modification I make to any of these files will also be applied on that server. So even though it looks like this is just a directory on our local server, it's actually a network file share mounted onto our server. So any changes that we make anywhere here will affect what is stored on this server under this directory. So that's basically what we can do here. And as you might imagine, this could be potentially pretty lucrative, especially, when it comes to config files. Maybe we grep for passwords or something. We find some hard-coded credentials, or, maybe we use this to upload some malicious file to the server that will connect back to our shell. The possibilities are endless here, but that would be what you would need to know for OSCP, in my experience, when it comes to NFS, to help you succeed and crush it. So if you guys had any questions or any further clarifications, maybe even something that you felt was very important pertaining to NFS that I might not have covered in this video, let me know down in the comments section below. And also be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and smash the like button to help get this content out there. And I will see you guys in some of these videos on screen now, what you need to know for OSCP if you are eager to get into some more content. And I will see you guys right over there. Thanks for watching.